Okay, today I was talking with my sister, and we were both on Twitter, so we send each other messages back and forth. But I've been thinking for a few days about something that is really it's really something that's tough to get a grip on in the UFO community, the Twitter community, but really just the UFO topic in general, and that is who to believe. You look at people's experiences. Recently, there was an author, a fiction author, that went to a conference, and one of the Twitter guys, Deep Prasad, a physicist, a young guy, a guy that I respected from the start, from day one, because what he says has always been, logical, reasonable, and seemed right on to me, almost all the time. Almost matched my beliefs almost every time. So I really followed the guy a lot, and I liked everything he said, basically. Such was also the case with Richard Dolan. Richard, everybody has heard his story. He started out as a historian. He was recognized at a very high level. Almost got a really good scholarship. Anyway, so Richard Dolan started out as a guy that believed only in facts, didn't entertain crazy notions. Even today, he's still leery about putting his opinion out on something like, say, the Atacama mummy type thing, or whatever that was, the little skeleton thing. And then now there's some more Peruvian mummies that came out. Richard Dolan hasn't said anything about that. He probably won't until everybody else weighs in. And though I wish he would talk, more quickly about it, I wish he would give his opinion real quick. He withholds judgment about those kind of things. Unfortunately, he has interviewed a number of people that, he gives the spotlight to, and it's obvious they don't know what in the hell they're talking about. Case in point is the guy who supposedly retired from the CIA. Richard went to some hotel room with the guy who's on like a breathing machine. I think didn't he have tubes coming up through his nose for oxygen or something? I mean, Richard said he was virtually on his deathbed, and this was like his deathbed confession. This guy wasn't in the CIA. I mean, it takes a child to see that. He can't even remember CIA office names and stuff. I mean, where they were and which city and stuff. I mean, just a horror, and just his answers were just so layman. There was like no terminology whatsoever from high-level government offices. Like if you just watch a Luis Elizondo, a 5-minute clip, he'll be speaking in a lingo that he spoke with for tens of years. And it's a different lingo than you've ever heard unless you've been in the same circles that he has in the CIA and the military and stuff like that. He speaks in an entirely different way. This clown that Richard Dolan interviewed was just that. It was just ridiculous. Richard gave him way too much credit for. But anyway, that's the way I found that most researchers end up doing eventually. Maybe Linda Moulton Howe as well. She's always been a little touchy-feely, but I mean, now basically she gives anybody the microphone and just goes to town, and it's just like a comedy to me. Deep Prasad went to a conference. I think this is his first conference. He wanted to present some things, maybe a new way of looking at science, or a new science that is more relevant to the UFO phenomenon, which cannot be repeated, cannot be proven, in ways that science typically look for proof, of things occurring. So Anyway, so apparently he met somebody, a fiction author, who many years ago wrote some books about crazy shit, like aliens are watching him in the desert as he's working in the military. They killed a number of people who were doing the same job before him, and yet this guy wants to stay there and keep doing this job. This guy interacted with aliens on a daily basis. Anyway, so eventually he comes out and says, and he's telling Deep that his story is actually true. It's he embellished a little bit, but the true thing is that these aliens were all over the place and just watching him. They were the tall whites, and sometimes they killed people, sometimes they hurt you, and just absolutely ridiculous shit. And now Deep is on Twitter saying that it's true. I mean, not that it's true, but that he believes him. So anyway, so my sister and I were just thinking about, like, who do you really believe? And you know what? You know what it all comes down to? For me, and I think for my sister as well, I can't speak for her, but for me, what it comes down to is that I believe myself, and I've already had how many experiences I've had. I haven't counted them, but I think I wrote them up on my UFOscoop.com site, and I think there were 7 there, but I think there's probably been more. I'd have to really think about it and put a comprehensive list down. But even 2 things that I can think of that were just mind-wrecking, super real, like ultra real. It's 1,000% real. They happened, and they're just real mind blowers. And so even if I just believe myself, which I do, I have plenty to go on. It's plenty real to me that there is some other phenomenon, some other force that is interacting, at least with me. I don't know whether anybody else's story is correct. Travis Walton, I tend to believe. Why do I tend to believe him? Because he has witnesses. Because everybody backs up his story. Everybody does. There's nobody coming out saying Travis Walton is lying. Do I think that it's possible that Travis Walton actually was beat up by his coworkers, left in the woods, maybe to die? He climbed back out of the woods in 5 days after he woke up from a coma, maybe, felt okay, told his friends, hey, don't worry about it. Or maybe his friends made up the story about the UFO. And maybe he had amnesia. He doesn't even remember. Who knows? Maybe he made up the story about being on the craft and interacting with the others, the beings. Who really knows? Do I think he did that? No. Is it important if he made it all up? Is it important to me? Not really. I'm not 100% on his case. I'm like 99. But it doesn't really matter if he's lying. I don't really care. It's just, that's what people do sometimes. Is it likely? Nope. Is it likely that the kids at the area school are all lying? Not at all. Not really at all. That's another 99 plus percent. I just think some things happened for sure. If none of those things happened, all I can do is really believe in my own experiences. I certainly do. I've told other people, and I don't really care so much that they believe, because the experiences I had were remarkable. They weren't quite as weird, I don't think, as Deep's experience. And I do believe Deep had that experience. I don't see that he has any reason to lie about that or make it up, or make it up so that more people talk about him as credible, witness or something like that. I don't see that at all. So, yeah, I think it comes down to experiencers. You can just believe in your own story, believe in what happened to you, because that should be enough to know that there is weird stuff going on. There's at least a weird phenomenon interacting with me, I know. Does it interact with other people? Seems reasonable. I'm not special for any reason. Why would it stop with me? So, Yeah, just something I was thinking about. My sister, I think, believes similarly, and I I wish that more people did, I guess, because I think that it isn't that important. It is important who is telling the truth, like, but we just can't know. There's just no way to know. I'm sorry. You can't vet anything in one discussion. You can't, even if you have all the tools at your disposal, we still can't vet, completely Bob Lazar. There's too many weird things in his story that just don't make sense. They don't add up. I choose not to believe him at all. I believe he went to the to S4 or wherever he was. He was listed on somebody's payroll. But did he necessarily see alien craft? I don't think so. Did he necessarily work on any alien craft? I don't think so. But it doesn't matter, really. So many people, I think, in the community tend to want to look up to people. So I always wanted to. I always wanted to find one person. So it started with Stephen Greer. Then I thought he went off the deep end and started making shit up so that somebody would sue him so that he could take it to court, and then they would have to prove, something, that they were in some program or they did something. Like somehow it would go to court, and he knows nobody's going to do that. For some reason, he doesn't fear being taken out by a sniper or something. I don't know why. Anyway, so I stopped with Greer. I think the next one was Dolan for a while. And then it was Dolan and Grant Cameron for a while. Grant Cameron really started to go off the deep end with the, what was that? The Avery and the bird names and stuff like that, which was maybe somebody's disinformation campaign online. But anyway, so he got into that too deeply, and now Grant Cameron has whoever the hell wants to have a microphone and have an interview with him. Grant will sit with him and believe him, or at least give lip service to believe in him. I don't know if he really does, but it's just a waste of our time, isn't it? It's just, you have to vet somebody somehow. You can't let every clown who wants to talk about their story, but maybe that's how they keep going. Maybe that's how they keep relevant. Maybe that's how Grant Cameron and Richard Dolan and Stephen Greer and everybody tries to stay relevant and tries to stay on top of the game, is to keep having people to interview, keep entertaining new ideas. And it keeps getting further and further out there, doesn't it? It keeps getting more wacky and more wacky. And I don't know. I think it's impossible to know who to believe. If you are an experiencer, just believe yourself. You know your own story. You know exactly what happened with you. If it's your brother or sister, you probably can believe them, right? You know your brother or sister. You know whether they're prone to making weird shit up for attention or something like that. Anyway, so those are just my thoughts real quick. Haven't made a video for a while, so I thought I'd bang one out. All right, hope you have a nice February. Cheers.